am particularly excited about this topic, Sean, because I think this is going to be a complete game changer for property managers who are trying to make most out of every stay. So let's give everybody like 2 more minutes for them to connect, and then we can get started.
Sure, no worries. I'm also excited to speak about this because upsells, yeah, upsells is a very, very interesting topic. Like, need to learn how to make more money.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so just 1 more minutes before we kick it off. And in the meantime, let me just get started by saying this is one of those questions that we get on a daily basis. Like, how do I make the most out of every single stay without having to put more burden into my team? So, my name is Osmara. I am the customer success manager here at Charge Automation. Here with me, I have Sean, who is one of our account executives, and we'll be talking about new, smarter ways in how you can make a much more out of your bottom line.
All right.
I think that we have some people already joining, so let's get started with the presentation.
Sure. Yeah, so I think that we can jump straight into the reasons why you are usually scared of doing upsells. Yeah. So the first reason why hosts are usually scared of doing any upsells is because they are scared of what if the guests will think that they are too pushy. You know, like I just want to sell, they just want to sell me stuff. But the truth around it is that these guests actually do want that upsells. They do want that early check-in. They do want that late checkout. They do want to pay for their pet and have a stocked fridge, but they just don't want to jump through hoops to get it. So this is why one of the reasons that makes it easier is that you have it there as an option. It's already an option there for them. It's one click, and they are able to just purchase what they want without having the hassle to contact you and see if it's possible. They will know it's possible because you have it there as an option. Then the second one is also the operational challenge. So again, a lot of times you think that, oh, okay, the guest is going to buy early check-in. Now I need to check if the room is going to be ready, if the property is going to be able to get accessed, the codes needs to change. So all of that is like too much hassle, and then you decide, okay, I'm not going to do upsells because it's too much operational challenges that will await. But again, with Charge Automation, this is making it much easier. We update the PMAs with the times. The codes, if you have access code smart lock systems that you use, it automatically updates the code, the timing for the code to be sent out correctly. And yeah, the guests will never arrive at the locked door. So you will have your trust with your guests. They're happy. They get there earlier, and yeah, everything will go according to plan. And then another reason why you are not upselling is because you are presenting it wrong. So if
Mhm.
you give a scenario, like a guest, they want to check in at 2 p.m. Your standard check-in time is at 3 p.m. They look at the options and say, oh, now I have to pay $50 for 1 hour earlier. Doesn't make sense. But if you have it there at 2 p.m., it can be $25. And if they want to check in at 12 p.m., it can be like $50. And then at 11 a.m., it can be like $80. And then they can choose which one will be the most relevant to them. Okay, so each time slot will have a different price, and then they feel more like they get what they pay for.
Exactly.
All right.
And something that
Mhm.
resonates a lot with what you're with me is you don't want to go through the hoops. So perhaps if you're offering an early check-in at $40, but I only want 30 minutes up to 1 hour, not a whole 4 hours.
Mhm.
Then I have to message you to see if that's something that you can give me. So definitely something that you will then feel for me as something that as I am personalizing my stay, it's more a transactional conversation that I need to have with my host. All right.
Exactly.
So let's hear about some of the objections your clients have said they normally encounter with the upselling strategy.
Yeah, so it's exactly as the one that I just basically mentioned. It's like they want to have an early check-in, but they have no idea what times are available. So here you can have the option like how you want to set it up. You can have a different upsell, like a different time slot. Like you can do it every half an hour to give them an option with a different price, or you can do it per hour, per 15 minutes. Um, you can do exactly like how you want it to be set up for your team to have it very easily. So there's no back and forth and guessing like what times are available. You have it as an option right there.
Okay. So another one is, for example, $80 flat when I only want 1 extra hours, like I was saying previously. And there is a strategy that can make this feel less transactional and more like an Amazon like experience, more like if I am just ordering Uber and I'm telling Uber at what time I want to be picked up. So selecting what time I want and what the rate is for just coming in at that time, it's something that will make it more like as if I am just picking up something else in an app as smooth as Uber, Foodora, when you're just picking up at what time you want your delivery. So that's something that we can definitely improve with this new workflow and this new strategy with time load pricing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then we also like the pricing per item is also a very interesting solution as well that we have. A lot of times you go out, you go for a booking, you see they offer wine, but they don't offer you what type of wine there is. There's like just bottle of wine, but now you can do there's red wine, there's white wine, there's Pinotage, there's all of Merlot, there's all of these different ones. So here you can actually they said like, hey, I wanted to have 3 bottles of wine, I wanted 3 different ones, but how can I choose it? So with charge automation, again, you can make them select the quantity of what they want. They can select the different types, what they want, not just about wine, but about any type of items that you offer that has different varieties. You can give them that different options in one place.
Exactly. And with that offering of options, another objection I've encountered is like, okay, but I also sell different types of breakfast or different type of packages for kitchen stocks and so on. But then it has all this complication with what exactly is it that you want to have in your welcome pack. What exactly is it? Which breakfast do you want? Is there any gluten-free um, item in the menu that I could have if I am celiac, for example? So
Mhm.
by providing everything and pricing per item, you're not only given the option to pick items, but also you're fully showing what the exact amount of how many um, pancake breakfast, how many continental breakfast, and a maximum amount, that limitation to like maybe I can only do 4 bottles of wine for your stay, but I can do 2 package of eggs. So all of those
Mhm.
centralized in one place that feels like I am just ordering from Uber Eats or that I'm just ordering from my Amazon account, it makes
Mhm.
the experience for the guests much better.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, to deep dive into what time slot pricing does, it's exactly what it says. Define different prices for different time windows. So, this is very relevant when you're trying to do your early check-in and late checkout without having to do a whole overhaul of your operations. So you want to sell early check-in and late checkout, but you want to ensure that your team knows that the check-in time change for that booking. And I want to know what time the guest selected, and I want to see that reflected in my PMS. So this is perfect for this strategy as well. Another example is airport pickup. I want to know when exactly my guest is going to be arriving at the airport so that I can coordinate with my transportation vendor or my in house team and know exactly the time that they're picking. Because sometimes prices do vary. Like an airport pickup might not cost the same on a Sunday that it costs on a Wednesday, and not the
Mm-hmm.
same at 5 a.m. that it costs at 1 p.m. And another thing, another example, just like that one, will be the additional cleanings. Um, Perhaps I do not want to offer additional cleanings between the time window where I know my team is preparing their rooms for the next stay and for my next guest. So having all of that into consideration makes it super clear to the guest that my cleaners can only come at a specific time to get the room ready or to get the room maintained to the most spotless condition. Same for experiences. And something super nice is sometimes I do not want to be having to coordinate like times with masseuse, a time, for example, with the chef that it's gonna come to the unit or to the Airbnb and give me the service. So all of this, like picking up at what time I want specific services, gets you that level of control that doesn't burden your operations team.
Yeah.
Now, something that gives you control, it's knowing how it will look like for your guest, and also how you will set it up. So for my guests, the experience should be super smooth. Just a matter of seeing, okay, I have an early check-in available, picking my time, and boom, it's added. I don't have to re-enter my credit card information. I don't have to go through hoops like you said it. But I just need to click one button, then it converts much better. Guests nowadays don't want to be in a constant communication with their host. They just want to feel that they are able to personalize their stay directly from your guest portal or in the app that you're giving them to self manage their stay. Now, this helps in your operations because it prevents overlaps and misconfigurations, and also because your source of truth, which is your PMS, stays as updated as possible.
All right.
Now, this is how it will look like for the different time slots pricing, like for late checkouts and picking up my time. Airport pickup, not only can I pick up my not only can I choose the time, but also the date. Perhaps I need additional transportations throughout my stay. And same for the housekeeping. So maybe I want housekeeping not only on Monday, but also on Friday if it's a longer stay, for example. And now, some level of flexibility that we get to hear a lot, or property managers need, is having the chance to set up the prices for a specific day of the week, perhaps, um, like I said, on Sunday, Saturdays, the prices may vary for your cleaners, the wages are higher, and also for the timings. So by being able to set up a start time and end time, but also the amount for each time frame, and also birthdays of the weeks, that level of flexibility is something that you can set up within your charge automation account and gives you the peace of mind that I don't have to be calculating amounts because the system does it on its own.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, now I'll speak a bit more about what is upsellings by item. So upsellings by item is each, this is what we mentioned already before as well. Like each item will have its own price and its own quantity. Like we mentioned with the bottles of wine, like the different wine will have a different price. You can choose how many bottles you want. You can set the limit on how many is available. And yeah, the guest can order exactly like you said, Osmara as well. Like it will feel like you're just ordering on Amazon or Uber Eats. You're just already pre-ordering everything that you will want to have for your stay, which makes it very easy, and it's a nice experience for the guests. To get there, and the fridge is already stocked with the things that you like to eat. If you have a special diet, your type of groceries will be there. You know, and it eliminates the back and forth communication. Um, Not to say that it eliminates it completely, that you don't have to communicate with the guest at all, but it makes the communication that you have with the guest more like personalized, instead of like just trying to figure out what is the items that they want and what they need. Yeah. So when to use upsells by item, like groceries on arrival. So you mentioned, so you can choose, for example, the groceries that you prefer. You know, what is also nice, what you can do is, like, if you get, for example, international clients, and your area is known for something. For example, if you're in Canada, you can offer them maple syrup. If you're in South Africa, you can offer them biltong and drovers, the things that they don't get in their own countries. In Turkey, you can offer Turkish delight, something like that. And in India, you can offer them a pot of button curry, butter chicken. You know, so yeah, this is the type of things that you can be creative. Give them. They're coming to a different country, so they don't have to go out to like find all the stuff. You can just give it to them as options right there.
Yeah,
Um,
and to add to that creativity, Sean, um, what I've seen one of our users doing is they advertise their own merch. So, for example,
mhm,
mugs, caps, like sandbags, where they get advertising their brand. Like I stayed at the Muse, for example.
yeah,
I stayed at Bloomberg Stays, for example. So all of
mhm,
those are additional revenue managers, but also exposition for your brand. Because now I'm telling you that I had an amazing stay at some place, and also like reminding them about the experience that they have, which is also a way of creating that loyalty with your guests, from your
yeah,
guests.
yeah, exactly. And it also can be the same, like, again, if you have international travelers, and last minute souvenirs, you can have souvenirs from the area that they stay, and be like, hey, did you remember to buy a magnet? If you didn't, we have magnets for you, we have shot glasses for you. So there's like a lot of ways that you can use this, to make it easy for the guests and make extra money for you. So it's a win-win situation. Other ways that it's also very good is like toiletries, because a lot of times you go into a plane and you remember, oh, I forgot to pack my toothbrush, I didn't pack any deodorant, and so yeah, of course you can have that as options for your guests as well. Like, hey, we have an extra toothbrush, we have some toothpaste. Get the deodorant that you need for male, for female. The female necessities that you sometimes need that you forget. So yeah, all of that stuff can be options that you give to them, just to make it easier and less awkward for them to ask you, like, hey, do you have this? And as you mentioned earlier as well, as Mora, like with the breakfast, you can give them the different options. Do you want pastries? Do you want a farm breakfast? Do you want muesli and yogurt? Do you want vegan? Do you want like vegetarian? Like, what is your diet preferences? And you can give them those options, and they can buy it, and each one can have its own price to it. All right. And then, of course, like the merch you mentioned, and then pet fees as well. Like pet fees, you can do, like, if you have a small dog, or if you have a big dog, or a medium dog, you can have different prices set to it. If you maybe want to add something to that pet fee, like, hey, do you want an extra bowl for your water or food? Do you want an extra bed, like a dog bed, something like that? So yeah, it's a lot
Yeah.
of different ways that you can create this. Yeah.
So that's definitely something that I jump into a lot is when somebody comes for deciding what upsell strategy is the best. They're always saying, well, I want to make sure there's a maximum amount of pets and that my guests understand that there's a maximum of pets that they can bring. So you can set up
Hmm.
maximum, like for example, you can only bring up to two small breed dogs, but maybe you can only bring one um, big dog, and all of those are valid functionalities for how to set up your upsells by items, like restricting maximum amounts. It's super
Mhm.
useful, like to make sure that you're setting up expectations with your guests as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely important. You don't want that lady with 27 cats, to come. You can also give that as an upsell, like buy an extra room, for the cats. Yeah. All right. So yeah. Yeah, it's very important that we say it's like keep it nice and simple and easy for the guests. Give them the options, and each option will have its own price to it. So it just makes it nice and clear. So on this slide, you can see exactly like how the guests will see it. They will be able to adjust the quantity, choose the specific item, and it's just a very convenient way for the guests to make a purchase. No back and forth communication, and that easiness will also, of course, drive 5-star reviews, which is very important in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. What we should be aiming for, it's not to be selling one room with one bed where you can stay, but also like the experiences of it all, and how
Mhm.
easy it was, for example, to prepare a romantic getaway with my partner, or how to prepare, for example, a bachelorette party if you are looking into hosting those, or even for now in the US, Canada, and Mexico, like with the World Cup, what if somebody wants a cooler with a six pack, for example, like to watch the match
Mhm.
with their homies, and
So amazing.
and just
Yeah.
just say, hey, I'm supporting Norway in the World Cup,
Yeah.
or just support the stay and making a memorable stay with you that can translate into a new booking the next time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So
Mhm.
this is exactly the kind of reviews, the kind of messages that we want to be getting from our guests. We don't want those messages asking, "Hey, is it possible for me to find parking? Hey, is it possible for me to get transportation?" We want to know the happy stories, and that comes with delivering a great experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So like you said, if you get this type of messages from your guests, you feel very happy. They are happy, and you made extra money, and it didn't feel pushy at all. Like there was no objections from their side, because if they wanted it, they took it. If not, they they just continued through the journey. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're gonna use the next 5 minutes for some questions. I see that we have one here um, saying, "What are the best converting upsells you see among your users?" So, can you talk a little bit more about that, Sean?
Well, yeah. I mean, the general ones are usually like the early check-ins, the late checkouts. I believe that are the most converting ones. But what I can say, it also depends on you and your guest. You need to read your guests, because if you're gonna offer like a like grill experience, but they live in the snow, like your property is in the snow, it's not gonna be a high converting option. So you need to read your guests, ask them, like they ask you usually, like, hey, do you allow pets? Do you can you offer flowers for a couple? So if you get these questions repetitively, like that is the type of upsells that you need to offer, and those are the ones that's gonna convert. So you need to understand your clientele.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that another one that it's a high converting one, it's the pets.
Mhm.
And especially when you can set up restrictions as to how many pets you can bring, but also parking, it's another one for upsells by items, because maybe you have 1 to 2 spots assigned to an apartment in one building, and then you can
Mhm.
accommodate two, or in a gated community you might have 2 to 3 spaces, and then if you want to be able like to sell those, people are usually more than glad that you can secure space for them,
Mhm.
and that's always a good revenue generator upsell.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say like one that I can also mention is it's a quite interesting one, but it happens some of the it's relevant to some of the clients that I offer like some tours, and they're like it's a mandatory that they have to pay for the tour, but they have different tours. So it's also good that you can make it a mandatory option. They need to choose either option A or B. Option A has one price, option B has another price, but it's mandatory that they do choose one, and this is also making it easier for you as the host as well to navigate, what needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that I do not see more questions, but if you do come up with more ways in which you want to change your upsell strategy, or maybe if you are not doing it yet but you want to start, you can definitely come in, talk some strategy with us. If you're already using Charge Automation, you can book a customer success call with our team, and we'll be more than glad to show you around on how to set these new strategies with us. Um, Otherwise, we can always discuss everything that it's good to have for you, everything that it's a must have, which is one of those things that you can do to excel at getting better reviews from your client, from your guests.
Yeah, exactly. And we are also more than happy to brainstorm with you and evaluate like what upsells would be relevant to your guests, and make sure that we help you to convert more and more. We try to make it as easy as possible. Like we said, it's like a one click. They don't have to add card details again if it's already on file. It's a very seamless process, and yeah, we can definitely help you to brainstorm to increase your revenue like per property.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining everybody. And Sean, it's always good to connect with you on what you're hearing on your end as well, from all of our users and from everybody that comes to us with these problems and these questions. So
Yeah.
if you do need to connect with us and have more questions, feel free to reach out. If not, thank you so much for joining today, and that'll be all.